perform. Related directly to the question before us today, how can we ensure public sector accountability within the framework of the rule of law? It's important that we understand the requirements of the rule of law itself. Rule of law requires that constitutions and the laws in the society are well known. People must know the Constitution. How many of us in this room own a copy of the Constitution? Or let me put it differently. Is there anyone here who doesn't have a copy of the Constitution? Is there anybody? Show by hand. We are halfway through the year. Christmas is long gone. But I ask you to give yourself a Christmas gift for 2007. Get out there and buy yourself a copy of the Constitution of Ghana 1992. It is your obligation, if this society is going to move forward, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to Mother Ghana, to know what the fundamental law of this country, and it's not a business for lawyers. And by the way, if you cannot afford one, it's like legal services. You are entitled to legal counsel. If you cannot afford one, the state will provide one for you. You are entitled to a copy of the Constitution. If you cannot afford one, the National Commission for Civic Education can provide you with an abridged version at a very, very high discount, so that you pay very low. Go and get yourself a copy of the abridged Constitution, and because you can afford to pay 2 Ghana cedis for it, give them the 2 Ghana cedis, so that those people, the students who truly cannot afford it, more reprints can be made for them to buy. The rule of law also requires equal application of the law to all. The equal application of the law to all, not to some persons. There are no persons within the state who are above the law, no matter their political pedigree. And it is deeply worrying when persons are convicted by cause of legitimate or cause of competent jurisdiction, and all of a sudden the autonomy, the judicial independence, the independence of the judiciary becomes a matter of public ridicule and criticism. We must be careful under a society governed by the rule of law that we do not desecrate the integrity of the judiciary, both by the conduct of the judiciary and by the conduct of the citizenry in rejecting what we do not know or understand because of political pedigree. I am saying that the rule of law requires respect for the equal application of the law to all persons. Rule of law also requires timely access to law, that the judiciary must be accessible, that no matter whether one lives in Tumu, Tamale, Takrade, or in Accra, that they must have access to the services of the judiciary. And that judiciary must also be neutral, capable. Neutral, competent, and capable. The rules of conduct in a society governed by the rule of law must be clearly laid out. Clear rules. In addition, there must be clarity about what constitutes acceptable public conduct. That is why our Constitution provides for a body of code, a code of conduct for public officials. In Chapter 24 of the Constitution, there is a code of conduct for public officials. The Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice has recently come up with a document on conflict of interest to govern the behavior of public officials. We, as civil society, as future leaders, have a responsibility, a duty to familiarize yourself with those kinds of documents and to use them as a basis for demanding high public ethical standards from yourself as well as from the public officials whom we pay to serve us. But the rule of law also means or requires public confidence in the legal system. Again, it goes to the point I made earlier that we must not undermine the integrity of the judiciary simply because we do not like the decision that particular judges make. What we are entitled to do is to use the laid down procedure of the law to do what, in the case of Mr. Chachishikata, for example, he did by filing an appeal against a decision which he considered to be obnoxious. Again, the rule of law must constrain the exercise of lawful authority, so that it does not matter how much power you have, the exercise of that power must be in accordance with law. Authority must be lawfully acquired or given. You do not take power. You do not do things that go beyond your power. If you do, the lawyers say you are acting ultra vires. And you cannot also constrain your authority, which you considered to be obnoxious. Again, the rule of law must constrain the exercise of lawful authority, so that it does not matter how much power you have, the exercise of that power must be in accordance with law. Authority must be lawfully acquired or given. You do not take power. You do not do things that go beyond your power. If you do, the lawyers say you are acting ultra